Besides the fact that those who were at the No Kings protest on Saturday were also the ones who were largely in favor of mandating experimental shots, locking you down, closing your business, forcing you to wear a mask, and having your relatives die alone. Outside of that, they're definitely against the idea of kings. But that aside, something came up over the weekend as I was scrolling through social media on Saturday. And it came from Kansas City Councilman Jonathan Duncan. He represents the 6th District, South Kansas City. Pronouns he, him. I'm just reading his profile, that's all, in case you wanted clarification on that. Anyway, he wrote on Saturday, "Good morning, Kansas City. As many of you gear up to make your voices heard in the streets today, remember to be prepared, be thoughtful, and be safe. Water, snack, mask, sunscreen, eye safety, and a plan to leave the area. What do you bring?" So I just shared that, and I said, why would you bring a mask? Saturday, it was hot. It was sticky. It was humid. The only way Saturday could have been worse if you were out at one of the protests is if you were wearing a mask. So I just asked that question on X. I just threw up a post and said, why would you wear a mask? And the councilman responded, quote, "It's so sad and a shame that those who say they stand for freedom criticize those who exercise their Fourth Amendment rights." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what exactly does a mask have to do with that? Of course, the Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. It ensures that law enforcement must obtain a warrant supported by probable cause. That's the Fourth Amendment, and I'm still just confused as to why you would insist on wearing a mask to the No Kings protest on Saturday, and why a Kansas City councilman would encourage you to hide your identity to wear a mask at the No Kings protest on Saturday. So I just took 2 minutes out, did a little digging into the Kansas City councilman Jonathan Duncan and some of his social media posts. And I found a post on his Blue Sky account. Now, Blue Sky is the liberal version of X. When Elon bought X, basically liberals said, we can't have a place where there are, diversity of opinions. We can't have this. Twitter was great. Elon brought back free speech, and we don't want to be a part of that anymore. So they made their own little club called Blue Sky. So I found this post from Kansas City Councilman Jonathan Duncan on his Blue Sky from May 24th. And here's what he posted. This was when those goober Patriot Front guys were walking around the streets of Kansas City. Remember that? Out of nowhere it happened. They showed up at World War I. They walked out of the back of a U-Haul. They marched randomly around Kansas City, and then they packed up and left. So he posted on May 25th of 2025, just like 3 weeks ago. Quote, "I heard Patriot Front had a little march today in the Crossroads. A bunch of masked up cowards. Take your racist fear-mongering back to your basements and keyboards." So I shared that post. I took a screenshot of it. I shared it, and I said, "Is this you?" I said, "I agree with this post, by the way. It is very sad that you can't be consistent. You have a Kansas City councilman who is telling everybody on Saturday to mask up. But it took me 2 minutes to find a social media post of his from 3 weeks ago where he called protesters in masks cowards." So it just goes to show you his hypocrisy, of course, knows no bounds. He is wildly inconsistent, whereas I agree with him. I agree with him when he says these Patriot Front guys who were marching around the Crossroads were absolutely cowards. There's no doubt in my mind that they were cowards. But for him, he picks and chooses who the cowards really are based on what their political motivations are. See, I don't do that. I try to be as intellectually honest as I can with you. And if one group is going to protest with a mask and the other group's going to protest with a mask, well, guess what? They're both masked up cowards to me. So then he responds to that and he said, "I said what I said. I speak my truth in the light of day. I don't hide my values or my views. Oh, gosh, where's the old violin for him, for crying out loud? He said, your fascist Patriot Front buddies can't say the same because they're cowards. I'm like, what is he talking about? This is what Quentin Lucas has to deal with every day. I actually kind of feel bad for him, that these are the kind of intellectuals he's got to try to work through City Hall with on a daily basis. So I just responded. I said, there's no such thing as my truth. There's only the truth. And the only truth here is that you're a massive hypocrite on when you should mask at rallies. I happen to think that the Patriot Front maskers are cowards, just like those masking at the No Kings rallies are cowards. You are inconsistent and dishonest. And that's the only takeaway here. Be consistent, be intellectually honest across the board, and at least then, even if you disagree with people, you can at least come to the conclusion that, hey, they're fair when it comes to analyzing situations. But telling people to mask on Saturday at the No Kings protest, but then calling those, way on the far right who were protesting a few weeks ago cowards for wearing masks, can't have it both ways, my man. So what is his reasoning? What is the Kansas City Councilman's reasoning for why it's okay to mask on Saturday, but not okay to mask last month? Here's what he says to me. My people are getting actively disappeared by the United States government's Gestapo for expressing their views. No one, let's be clear, nobody in this country has disappeared courtesy of the United States government for expressing their views. Not a single person in this country has been, in his words, disappeared for expressing their views. So once again, another lie. But that, sadly, is par for the course right now. He then says, with that risk, they protest, and they're heroes. Please.
I'm getting pissed now.
No.
Puke, as the kids say. Green face emoji.
Yeah. And before I get any more annoyed, because right now I'm just laughing at it, we'll get to the news coming up in 2 minutes. Back with you, 913-408-7957.